So you might need a place to cool down today. We'll have more details with the weather forecast coming up shortly. But first, to our top stories. The work to redevelop Lansdowne Park is now underway. First up, prepped work to relocate the century-old horticulture building. But part of that work includes the removal of 60 trees, and some nearby residents aren't happy about that. Melissa Lamb's at Lansdowne Park this morning to explain why. Melissa.
Well, Annette, even more residents have gathered now to protest the cutting of the remainder of the trees. We can tell you that construction crews have arrived on site. They still, though, have not started to cut down any of the remainder of the trees. Last week, they did cut down 25 trees when they weren't supposed to, and obviously that upset many residents here on Homewood. The construction crews did apologize to the residents, but however, they say, you know, that wasn't good enough, that the tree shouldn't have been cut down in the first place. Now, Councillor David Chernyshenko is on site, and here is what he had to say this morning.
None of the people here today believe that there wasn't a way to redevelop Lansdowne in some appropriate way without saving the park. We all believe that you could have redeveloped Lansdowne Park and saved Sylvia Holden Park if someone wanted to put their mind to it.
And the city says these trees simply must go. And the reason why is because they have to move the horticultural building that has been here for over 100 years and that there is contaminated soil. And that is why the trees must be removed. Now, we can tell you the construction crews are behind us and they haven't started working yet, but we can see it's just a matter of moments before they start cutting down the remainder of the trees here on Homewood Avenue. Annette?
All right, Melissa Lamb reporting this morning. Convicted terrorist Momin Khawaja's case will go to the highest court today. The Supreme Court of Canada will hear an appeal that was launched by Khawaja on the legal definition of terrorist activity. Khawaja was found guilty of 5 terrorism charges and sentenced to life in prison. That appeal argues that the criminal code definition of terrorism is unconstitutional because it violates the right to express political and religious views. The Harper government's omnibus bill will be put to a vote this week, but not before a number of amendments are considered. The Speaker of the House of Commons will decide today just how many of the more than 1,000 amendments to the bill will be voted on. Tory House Leader Peter Van Loan says it's nothing more than political delay tactics, but Green Party Leader Elizabeth May says the opposition has an obligation to try to make sure bad laws aren't passed. To Syria now, where more violence has prompted talk of military intervention. Britain's Foreign Secretary says he can't rule out a military mission in Syria, saying the situation there is beginning to resemble the violence in Bosnia in the 90s. Opposition activists say government forces are pounding areas in the central province of Homs, and the shelling has killed another 38 people. Emergency officials in the Florida Panhandle will be surveying storm damage today after torrential rain caused flooding, knocked out power to thousands of people. The rain also damaged homes and closed down roads. Pensacola was one of the hardest hit regions, getting about 375 millimeters of rain over the past 2 days alone. And there's more bad news. Rain is expected along the Gulf Coast again today. Well, there's no rain in the Ottawa forecast today, just plenty of hot weather, but you won't be able to cool off in any of our city beaches. The red flag is flying at all 4 beaches due to high levels of bacteria. Lifeguards will be on duty to start the summer season on Saturday. They'll be out every day until August 19th, and Ottawa Public Health will also start sampling the water quality.